chapter 3, verse 6 that we read, Old Testament. And by the way, what we're going to be learning this morning, the teaching, the preaching this morning, the sermon, there is two sides of the house. There's some theologians, there's some Christians, there's some even friends and family and secular that it either goes to one stream of the aspect of the other. And some will actually preach against it. And it's a helpful message. And as a matter of fact, our sister, the Spirit of Prophecy, said that the health message is the right arm of the three angel messages. Is the right arm of the three angel messages. And so Genesis chapter 3, verse 6, if we go back there, it's amazing because I love how it breaks it down. And it says, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food and that it was pleasant to the eyes and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. Appetite. Who created appetite? Huh? God created appetite, right? God put it in us, and it's part of us, and we need to eat. And so God, in the beginning, said that everything he made, he saw that was very good. But when sin and Satan enter, everything that was good, he turned it to be for evil. And so it is very critical, very crucial, very important, this topic, because it actually personally, and I will share some images and pictures, it saved my life. And so Sister Wise says that in the very point that our founding fathers, Adam and Eve, they felt, that's when Christ started. In Matthew chapter 4, verse 4, Christ said to Satan, man shall not live by bread alone, but by what? Every word that proceeded out of the mouth. Amen. So Ellen White says that exactly where our fathers failed or fall is where Christ began his ministry, in conquering. And so let's go to Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, chapter 7, verse 14 and 15. And this is in the Old Testament, and as a matter of fact, it is said that the book of Isaiah is a mini Bible. It has 66 chapters, just like the Bible has 66 books. And it starts just like Genesis, and it ends just like Revelation. So the book of Isaiah, chapter 7, verse 14 and 15, is talking about a specific individual, a specific person. Again, Isaiah chapter 7, verse 14 and 15 says the following. Therefore, the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive, and we know this is talking about Mary, and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel, which means God is with us. Verse 15. Butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know to refuse evil and choose good. Wow. This is talking about Jesus and saying something specifically. As a child, he was going to eat something specifically, and what he was going to eat was going to help him to choose between good and bad, between good and evil. So even what we eat helps us to make the right decisions. As a matter of fact, secular out there in the world tells you that if you're going to do any business, if you're going to a business meeting and you're going to do an agreement or a contract, not to eat before you go and do the business. What happens when we eat? What happens to our mind? It gets clouded, right? The majority of our blood from our brain goes into our digestive system to help our digestive system get rid of the food. And see, the school of the prophets, this is the first thing they used to teach the youth. And they don't do that nowadays. It's how your body works. And so, as a matter of fact, we have two, and for the sake of time, we are not going to go into it, but I'm going to reference it. In the Bible, do you guys remember Angel Gabriel appeared to Manoah's wife? You guys remember who Manoah was? The father of Samson. And do you guys remember what the angel Gabriel told Manoah's wife? What to eat and what not to eat? It was something specifically. And what not to drink. Nothing unclean. And so, and then on another occasion, angel Gabriel appeared to Mary. You guys remember what angel Gabriel said to Mary as well in reference to the food that she was going to eat? So if you think about it, Samson had a mission. God had a purpose for him to deliver his people from the Philistines. And Christ also had a mission. And actually Elizabeth, the mother of John the Baptist, also the angel Gabriel appeared to her. Do we have something in common here? How critical, how crucial it is in the Bible, over and over again, gives us instructions. As a matter of fact, Daniel chapter 1, very famous, you guys remember it. You guys remember when King Nebuchadnezzar, they took from all the wise and young men from Israel, from Jerusalem, and they took him captive, and they changed his name. And you know, when they changed his name, he said, that's fine, you can change my name, no problem. And when they changed his teaching and his education, he said, no problem, I know what I know, you can change my education, and that's no problem. But what happened when it came to the food that he was supposed to eat? We have a problem now. You can change my name, you can change my education if you want to, teach me all you want, but what I eat? No, 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 no. As a matter of fact, it was life or death. And he said to the eunuchs, give us 10 days. Test us for 10 days. And what happened after 10 days? How many remember the story? They were healthier. And they found them 10 times what? Wiser. 10 times wiser. You know, my brother, he's Carlos Cruz Jr. You know, some of you know him, and he have preached in here before. He's an engineer, and one of his co-workers, his employees, he said, hey, I got to tell you a secret. He said, let's go, very intellectual, very smart, intelligent, disciplined gentleman. And they went to lunch together in the office, and the guy takes a cucumber, and he starts peeling it off and chopping it up, and takes a tomato, and then he said, you know what the secret is? These people think I'm intelligent, I'm smart. This is the secret. It's what I eat. And then he saw my brother taking a salad out. He said, oh, I knew there was something different about you. I knew it. And so what we eat helps us out. Even our memory, sometimes we say, oh, well, I forgot, I don't remember. You know what it is? It's what we eat. You know, have you noticed that sometimes your memory is sharper than other times? That you tend to remember things easier than other times? It's based on what we eat. You know, Mike Simran, by the way, I loved. It was my first time going to his diabetes seminar. It was wonderful. It was about 6 weeks long. Mike, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I know some of you had the opportunity to attend. I would strongly recommend it. It was wonderful. Talked about some of the food, that quality and the quantity of food. And so let me ask you a question. How long does it take your body when you eat to digest the food? How many hours? 4 hours. All right. Any others? Does it take, depending on what type of food it could take longer, right? And so when we eat fruits and salads and vegetables, it takes about 4 hours. How about if we eat meat? Does it take longer? It takes longer, right? And depending on what type of meat, because we have the clean and unclean meat. And so, if it's eating meat from the unclean, it could take a couple of days. And you know what that is doing inside your body? It's rotten, fermented, and that's what gets us sick. And so when we eat, our digestive system starts working. It takes a couple of hours. It could take some days, depending on the type of food. Our minds get beclouded, benumb, and we can't even think or process. And then, have you noticed after you eat a big meal, you want to take a nap? You want to go to sleep, right? And that's it, because not only the quantity, but the quality and the quantity both. Of what we, especially when we eat at night, especially if we eat at night, when we go to bed, we say we're sleeping and we're resting. But our digestive system, our body's working the entire night trying to get rid of the food. So we're not really resting. We wake up and we're tired and exhausted. What happened? As a matter of fact, when you eat at night, when you wake up in the morning, you're hungry again. And so, very important, very critical. At one point in my life, when I came to the U.S., I was 12 years old, 1994, June 14, 94. And I was 75 pounds. And I remember my father used to give us, my brother and myself, $20 a week. $20 every week. And a friend of mine actually told me, you can save the $20 a week, and it's $80 a month, and then you can buy yourself some nice clothes. But you know what I used to buy? I used to go in and buy Twinkies. You guys remember Twinkies? You guys remember honey buns? I used to take my $20, and back then, 94, I used to buy a lot of Twinkies and a lot of honey buns and soda. And my father used to take it to Chuck E. Cheese. You guys heard of that? And every weekend was pizza. In 6 months, I went from 75 pounds to 150 pounds. Double that amount in 6 months. And then it can go up and up, and then 200 and 220 and 230. And I was 238 pounds at one point. And maybe not working, if it works. Thank you. Maybe that will work, yes. And so I'm going to show you an image or a picture. By the way, we're not going to have time to go over each one of these, but it's very detailed. And this was about 12 years ago. Do you know the guy in the picture on your right-hand side? I was 12 years ago, I was 29 years old. And I was only about 215. And I was 238 at one point. And so we did the Daniel fasting, 21 days. And the Daniel fasting, well, the 21 days is different levels. There's vegetarian, there's vegan. And my friend, if I'm not mistaken, our brother, and he has a vegan restaurant in Raleigh, if I'm not mistaken. And I did the raw, which is no salt, no seasoning, no sugar, no meat, no juice, just water, fruit, salad, vegetables. In those 21 days, the first 3 days I had migraines, and I was in pain, and I was like a little baby, curled up. And the week after that, I was weak. I felt faint. And the third week, finally, my body was doing a cleansing and detoxing. And my wife was actually eating an ice cream during those 21 days. And my mouth became watery, and I was looking at the ice cream, and I wanted it so bad. Literally to the point that a tear came out of my eye because I wanted it so bad. So we had to deny it to self, and it's not easy. And so I lost 17 pounds in those 21 days. And it's amazing because we have managers meeting at the bank in 1 month. I went to the meeting. The next month, 21 days later, 17 pounds less. We go to a break, and like 8 managers turn around and they look all at the same time. And I look back, I'm like, what are they looking at? And then they start asking, what are you doing? How are you doing? How many miles are you running? What type of exercise? What trainings do you have? And I'm like, Daniel fast. I was like, what's that? How does it work? How do you do it? You know what happened? A month later, 5 of them came back. One lost 7 pounds, the other one 5 pounds, the other one 3 pounds. I was like, wow. And do you know this guy? Is there a difference? So there I was older. I was 5. I was probably like 35 in that picture, but I look younger. Here I was younger, and I look older. Is there a difference? Just a little bit, right? Big difference. So it's possible. It can be done. We just got to have the mindset and ask for God to give us the power to do it. And even nowadays, I'll be honest and I'll be sincere. I'll get the temptation and get the munchies, if that's the right terminology. And you see, and sometimes we smell the food. We're not even hungry. Just because we smell it, we want to eat it. And so how do you have self-control and be victorious over this topic? And I bring this to you is because the scripture, again, over and over again, as we have mentioned, some of the scriptures, some of the Bible verses that talked about the health plant. And as a matter of fact, Peter in Acts chapter 10, God, he has a vision. And God is telling him, Peter, you guys remember when a basket is being brought down with 4 strings and all type of animals, and God said to Peter, kill and eat. And what did Peter, it's amazing. I was reading it this morning, and it says that nothing uncommon or unclean has entered my mouth. It's interesting. So even the regular food, our original state in Genesis was, out of all the plants and all the trees, they shall be for meat, for food. And so this is very powerful. It saved my life. I'll tell you the truth. When I was 238 pounds, my back hurt, my elbow hurt. I used to get tachycardia. I don't know if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. And suffocating. I was not able to sleep at night. And you know what? Everything was completely gone. No more pain. More energy. Big difference. Big difference. So God was merciful, wonderful, and again, this is a right arm of the 3 angels' messages. One of the greatest temptations, Sister Wise says, that we have is appetite. One of the greatest, biggest temptation we have is appetite. And actually, she goes on to say that, as a matter of fact, if we are able to conquer in this temptation, we are able to conquer in everything else. This is powerful. And this is, as a matter of fact, you guys have heard of blue zones. You guys remember and have heard of the blue zones, right? Loma Linda, California being one of them, and Seventh-day Adventist. They live 10 years longer on average than every other population. And so this is very powerful. And then again, even Daniel, when Daniel was given the portion of the king, right? You think the king will have the best food. And Daniel said no. Again, they changed his name, they changed his education, but when it came to the food, no. So, let's see what time we have. I'll leave you with this. Let's go to a Bible verse in 3 John, if I remember correctly, my brain is functioning. 3 John chapter. And I think you guys know this verse in the New Testament towards the end of the Bible. Third John chapter 1 or 2? Chapter 1. I think some of the members are already reading it. Beloved, 3 John chapter, of course, it's only one chapter, verse 2. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayst prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prosper. And so the desire of John was for us to be healthy and prosper. And not only all these members and brothers and sisters that are living in the blue zone are living 10 years longer, but they live in 10 years longer and in health, without pain, without suffering. You have more energy. Your mind and your brain is sharp. And you're able to do a lot more when you're in health. And you're able to help yourself and help others, friends, members, family members, when you have health. And so that's my message for today. It's short, sweet, straight to the point, and wanted to live it as a testimony what God did in my life. Again, and it was very powerful. And if it was not for His mercy and for His grace, I probably would have been dead right now. And so, big difference. Again, there's a lot more Bible verses. Some of these slides here we don't have time to go over, but it's very detailed. As a matter of fact, some of philosophers, like Aristotle, he says that he used to fast for a clarity of mind. And this is a secular word. People from out there, and scientists and doctors, have found out that there is a direct correlation between the mind, the body, and the mind. So God bless everyone. With that being said, for those that can, let's go on our knees and let's say the word of prayer.